Again, my name is Kimberly Hunter. I'm your MC for this evening. We are here tonight to enjoy one another in libation, celebration, a little bit of food, but most importantly, we're here to give it up and be excited about Julie Mayfield. Not only vision, values, and results in Western North Carolina, but that is what she exudes as a human, as a person. I'm probably one of the people who have known her the least amount of time in this room, but for the time that I've known Julie, I am not impressed like in awe like a superstar. I'm impressed because character matches character, integrity matches integrity. The things that we value as people, even if we disagree, Julie's a person who not only listens to understand, but she listens to connect, because she understands that everything intricately and obviously is connected in our region and throughout the world. And so before we get into all the details, I just want us to give it up. Come on, you came here for this! You're ready. Have you had too much to drink yet? So the run of order this evening is very clean and clear. We're actually just hearing from neighbors, hearing from folks who know Julie and have had long-term and short-term interactions with her that have meant the world for not only belonging, but seeing impactful shifts and changes that transform us as humans. So without further ado, thank you, Tina. I bring Tina up. You're going to come down one because I'm short. Everybody knows this. And why don't you tell us your story and how you know Julie? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tina White. I work locally with Blue Ridge Pride. I'm the executive director there. Nationally, I'm on the board of the Human Rights Campaign. So I spend a lot of my time politicking nationally to turn the Senate and the House, but it's always bugged me. What about the states? What about the states? There's a lot of bad stuff going on there. And so I couldn't have been more excited when I got the news you were running. But even more so a year ago at Blue Ridge Pride, we started what we hope is a new tradition. We started we don't call it a parade, it's a procession through Asheville for welcoming Western North Carolina. And the theme that year was diversity plus inclusion equals success. And the very first person to walk in that parade was Julie. And so I am committed. She walked with me in that parade from beginning to end. She was the first. And so I will be here for your march, and I hope everyone else will, from beginning to end. Thank you so much for being there for us.
Yeah. I haven't seen you in a while.
That's right. Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Goldsmith. I am a lawyer and a mediator here in Buncombe County. I'm on the board of Carolina Jews for Justice. And I have had the honor and the privilege of serving with Julie Mayfield on the board of another nonprofit organization, the ACLU chapter here in Buncombe County. And I have had occasion to follow her good work, both at Mountain True and as a member of the City Council. You know, the Republicans have really abandoned all pretense of ever supporting small government, the government closest to you, the local government. They have taken away the rights of our local governments to provide for better wages for our local citizens, to have a cleaner environment in our own local community, to protect the rights of people regardless of their sexual identity. A host of things, a host of rights the current legislature has taken away from local governments. We cannot self-govern as we should. Julie understands that issue. Julie will fight to protect those rights, and Julie will set the folks straight in Raleigh. I am proud to support Julie Mayfield for the Senate.
Okay, I am Liz Parker. I am Julie's friend and neighbor, and I also happen to be a mom to 2 little boys and a school counselor to 400 other kids in our awesome public school system. And Julie has been an amazing friend to me. She is kind and caring and compassionate. She's a great listener. She's the kind of friend who will follow through on a promise to play the ukulele at your child's birthday party. She comes to our house for dinner with a big crew of people and is always the one who stays in the kitchen and helps me clean up until all the dishes are done. I know. And all that stuff that makes her a good friend is also going to make her such a good state senator. Because I want my state senator to be someone who's kind and compassionate and caring. That's who I want making those laws and policies that affect my kids, that affect my students. I want people in Raleigh who are good listeners. And I'll tell you, I don't know if you've heard, but us in education, we don't feel like the people in Raleigh are often very good listeners. I went to Raleigh on May 1st a couple weeks ago in a big old bus with some of my colleagues from Asheville City Schools and Buncombe County Schools, and I went to advocate for my students. And when I told Julie that I was going, she had so many questions about, well, what are the policies that you guys are advocating for, and what are the issues that are facing your students and your families and your schools, and what can we do about that in Raleigh, and what's it really like in the classroom these days? And I want my state senator to be somebody who actually asks those questions, because a lot of the education policies that come out of Raleigh, I don't know, maybe they haven't been proofread or something, but it's like nobody asked those things. So I'm grateful that Julie's my friend. I recognize I'm going to have to do more of my own dishes when she's in Raleigh. But I'm so glad that she's going to be there to advocate for me as an educator, to advocate for my kids, the 2 in my house, but also the 400 at my school that are my kids too. And I think she's just going to be amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for speaking for children as well. Really appreciate that. Marta, I didn't see Marta, so Dan, would you like to come up and Marta can make her way to the front?
All right. Hello, good evening. My name is Dan Frayne. I'm a family physician here. I've been a family physician in Western North Carolina for almost 2 decades. And one of the things that we know about health is that health is more than what happens in a doctor's office. That we're talking more and more about the social determinants of health, that health is really determined about where you live, where you work, where you play. And I have had the pleasure of getting to know Julie in my work of understanding health equity and understanding why we have so many disparities between black and white, rural and urban, and how we can really address those things. Julie and I have kind of embarked upon understanding racial equity, and in that work, I can totally be confident that she has the right frame of reference to really understand what it's going to take to change policy, to focus our dollars around health and equity, to make it matter in the community, to focus on the social determinants of health. And she's the right person that can actually represent us to do this well in Raleigh. Thank you.
I will say, echo that very briefly, as on the board, I'm not on our racial equity subcommittee, but as a black woman, I will tell you that Julie hears my mouth quite a bit. And she is like, say it, sister. So I want to echo that racial equity is at the top of her list. All right, who's next? You want to come on up since you're standing here? Thanks, Richard.
Hi all, I'm Richard Fireman. I've been part of the Alliance since walked into Brownie's office about 20 years ago, and was interested in faith-based environmentalism, and Brownie invited me to the first sit-down meeting, which became the campaign for the Clean Smokestack Act. And I've been a member of the Alliance and Mountain True ever since, volunteering for clean energy, climate change, and environmental justice. And I can tell you one thing that's perfectly clear. The first criteria for anybody on the path of community leadership is to show up. And Julie always shows up. Yeah. So this is our concern, our collective concern. is not that Julie is showing up all the time and has the great ideas. And no matter what the issue is, whether it's environmental issues or equity issues or health issues, Julie's going to show up and she's going to have really good ideas, and she's a great listener. The question is, are we going to show up? Are we going to talk to our neighbors and our networks and our friends and our colleagues and get them engaged in this campaign? Can you believe that we have Julie and Terry and Susan and Patsy, 4 amazing women running for state office, and we need to show up. We need to show up and make sure that they're elected. Let's do it, folks.
Let's do it.
I love running up the stage and grabbing the microphone and saying, "Hi, everybody."
Hi.
And I can be flamboyant because I'm a transgender person, so that goes along with the nature of being queer. But I can speak not only of being queer, but I can speak to being Asheville. And when we talk Asheville, we scare the Piedmont, we scare everybody in this state. And it's only because you vote that we can do that.
Yes.
So, as we say in the gay community, come out.
Drop the mic now, Yvonne. Before we hand it off. By the way, I know everyone is enjoying getting to know one another. I just want you to remember the propaganda, the loot. Some of it has actually a phone number for Julie on here, yes. And also really good looking graphics you can hang up to let people know that you support her. So last but not least, Esther, would you like to come and say a few words?
I'm the last one before Julie gets to speak, and she was very strict about her orders. I want to let you know that it has been my pleasure to get to know Julie since she was elected in 2015, I believe it was, right? We've been working very closely together, and we even participated together in a program down at Duke's Public Policy School around the environment, so we had lots of car trips to talk and get to know each other. But I have personally witnessed how hard-working Julie is, how caring she is, how compassionate, how driven. And also I've learned some odd things, like she doesn't go to the mall ever. She also doesn't watch Game of Thrones. I thought that was weird too. All right, just kidding. And she loves tennis, and that's like, okay, so like the tennis people. But I also would like you to know that in my time getting to know Julie, I really have to tell you that to the extent it matters anymore in this country, she is so qualified to serve in the state legislature. She knows how it works. I mean, just for starters, that's so awesome. She goes down there all the time already. So I am so glad that we as a community are so lucky that she is willing to do this. This is a sacrifice. This is not anything else but a sacrifice. So let's please welcome Julie to the stage and give her a round of applause.
I haven't even gotten started yet. I said this at my kickoff 4 years ago, that having parties like this, it's like getting to go to your own funeral, and it's really awesome. I am grateful to everyone who is here. I am grateful to everyone who has spoken, and everyone who is being supportive. Thank you very much. Since December 2015, I have had the privilege of serving many of you as a member of Asheville City Council. In that role, I have led council's work on a number of fronts, including expanding our public transit system with more and more frequent buses to better serve people who depend on transit. And to encourage other people to get on the bus, people who don't have to ride the bus. I took over from Mark Hunt, who's in the back there, on leading council's work on I-26, and I am happy to say that we have improved that project tremendously. We've shrunk its footprint, we've saved dozens of homes and businesses, and thanks to the good work of many people, we have added 5 miles of greenways and bike paths. I'm helping to lead the city's transition to 100% clean, renewable energy. Again, there's a bunch of people in this room, Brownie Newman, Sophie Mullinack, several other folks. We beat back and defeated a peaker plant, a 190 megawatt peaker. And we've been working for several years now to reduce the energy costs and therefore the energy bills for some of our low-income neighbors. Very important work. I have also been leading on land use regulations and land use policy, trying to get to the point in our community where we're both building community and preserving the environment with the new growth that we're seeing. I help lead our affordable housing efforts, including our new policy on down payment assistance for home ownership. That's brand new. And I led the transformation between the city and the Tourism and Development Authority so that together, as a community, we can decide and we can re-envision and reinvent how our tourism dollars are spent here in our community. And at a very crucial time in the city's history, I helped rewrite the Asheville Police Department's use of force policy, which saw a 61% decrease in incidents of use of force in the first year alone, and I believe will save lives. So the last, I guess, 4 years now, 3 plus years on council have given me a first-hand view of our community and a lot of the challenges that we face. So even though, is that the train?
Yeah,
So even though as a community, Buncombe County is booming, there's still too many people who struggle to make a living and to find affordable places to live. Even though Asheville welcomes literally tens of thousands of workers and visitors every single day, we don't have the money that we need to spend on services and resources to serve our community. And even though we are a progressive city, we are met with a General Assembly that does not allow us to meet the demands of our community on things like wages, equality, and the environment. So to try to address those and other challenges, it is time to take the fight to Raleigh, and that is why I'm running to be your next state senator from District 49. Here's some of the things we need. Here's some of the things I think I can do. We need a Green New Deal for North Carolina. Response, state-level response that restores protections for our air and water and meets the challenges of climate change. Yes. Excuse me, sorry. Water? We need a new and holistic approach to health and equity, as Dan talked about. That starts with expanding Medicaid. And then we need to look at these upstream factors that impact both health and equity: housing, food, transportation, safe places to live, educational opportunities, and economic stability. We cannot have a healthy community and an equitable community unless we address all of those together. And you know what else we need? We need a General Assembly that helps or gets out of the way. Our decisions about laws that we make here that govern our people on things like wages, release of body cam video, generating new revenue, the environment, all of those things should be our decisions. And this General Assembly has been an obstacle to our progress for far too long. I have worked hard in the time that I've been on council. I have worked every day to make this community a better place. And I will take that fight to Raleigh and fight for you every day so that we keep on that track. That is my promise to you if I am elected your next state senator. So to do that, I need not just your vote, I need your wisdom, I need your counsel, I need your knowledge, and I need your support. And together, I know that we can and we will create a better Buncombe for all. Thank you. So I got a couple more things I want to say. First, I want to acknowledge and thank my family for being here and their support for this. It is a big sacrifice. So my mother is here in front, and my sister. And of course, most of you know my incredibly patient and understanding husband. Several people have expressed some concern to me about who will take my place on City Council and who will pick up the mantle of the things that I have been working on. And I am incredibly flattered by that concern, I must say. But I am not worried. I'm not worried because of who is already on council and because of aspiring new leaders coming up in our community, like my neighbor Kristen Goldsmith, who is right here. Y'all are clapping and you don't even know why, but you're about to do that one more time. So Kristen wants to serve this community in a meaningful way, and she has decided to run for Asheville City Council. I hope that you will take the time to get to know her, and I hope that you will support her when the time comes. Finally, there's somebody in the room that I'd like to acknowledge, somebody who is very dear to me. And if there is anyone in this world who is responsible for my passion, some would say obsession, with policy making, it is John Sibley. John, if you would raise your hand. 16 years ago, John hired me to be the Vice President and General Counsel at the Georgia Conservancy. And in that role, I became our chief lobbyist, and for over 4 years, I got to do incredibly meaningful work on state-level environmental policy. John was not just my boss, he was also my role model and my mentor. And see, it's gonna happen. John, more than anyone else, you are probably responsible for the environmental leader that I have become and the policy wonk that I am. So thank you very much. Okay, that is enough for me, since I probably can't really say very much anyway, so I'm going to turn it back over to Kimberly. Thank you all very much.
evening. There's nothing like being in the midst of community members and having your family right next to you, because it's a work together that we're doing.